What is up, Wolverine Nation and Texas Longhorn Nation? It is the Michigan-Texas pregame show. I am accompanied by Matthew Miller, the host of Texas at the Voice of College Football, and it is game day. Let's go. What is up, Matt? How you doing this morning? Are you looking forward to your L today?
No, I'm looking forward to a W. Yeah, it's just super exciting. I mean, getting to see these two colors really come together for the first time. For most people, it's going to be awesome, especially in the big house. A lot of Texas fans are there. I'm not surprised by that. It's going to be interesting. I think they're going to take out a couple of sections of that maize out, make it a little burnt orange, but it's going to be a fun day.
Yeah, man, it's definitely it's going to be a great game. I mean, it's always a great time when these historic, prestigious universities clash, and then not only that, two universities at interesting points in their growth patterns right now. You have Texas, who's on a mission. They are, in my opinion, I spoke about this Tuesday, Matt. Texas is like Michigan last year, returning a lot of veterans. They took their loss last year in the playoffs. Now they're on a mission to get their national title. So it's a great test for Michigan today. And then Michigan's on their mission, Michigan's on their journey where they just won their national title, and now they're in the pursuit of another one, seeing what they can do with a few inexperienced players, a bunch of new players in important positions like quarterback and some offensive line positions, wide receiver. But Michigan does still hold an extremely strong defense. What are your thoughts today on the offensive-defensive matchup? Who do you think is going to come out the victor at the end of the day in this heavyweight matchup between your offense and Michigan's defense?
Well, I think whoever wins the game, that's who will come out the victor on this side of the ball. I think it's the most important, or it's the most fun side of the ball. I don't know if it's the most important. I like the Texas D versus your guys' offense. I think that's important as well. But Sark made no mistakes about it. He's already said, hey, we're going to run the RPO. We got to get our double teams down and everything like that. So it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant can get consistent pressure like they did in the national championship game and they do versus Ohio State at certain points. And I think it'll be a really, really close game.
Yeah, I mean, without question, one of the keys to Michigan's, chances of victory today is getting pressure on Quinn Ewers, making him feel uncomfortable in the pocket, and making him see ghosts on the field. Obviously, the question for Michigan is, can Michigan's offense be able to win the battle between Texas's defense? Please give us, a breakdown of what you see there between Texas's defense versus Michigan's offense, and who do you think is going to come out the victor there, Matt?
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting because there's questions about both units. I think I have a bit more answers on Texas side, but is Michigan going to be able to, have that dominant run game that they've had the last couple of years where they basically want to bully you up and down the field on offense? You saw it in the Penn State game. So that's something obviously Texas wants to avoid. Now, even in that game, Texas had a way better offense than Penn State did last year, but it's going to be interesting if they can get that push and see how much they've honestly gotten better since week one, because they didn't get much push versus Fresno. And if they do that today versus Texas, it could be a long day.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's going to be an interesting. To me, it's I think we do agree that the defense, Michigan's defense versus Texas's offense, is a major matchup. But for me, the only way I see Michigan winning this is if Michigan's offense can win the battle against Texas's defense, because I do feel confident our defense is going to do its job. It's just, is the offense going to do its job today? Is it going to sustain drives? Can it stay on time with first downs? On schedule? That's the question for me. Can Davis Warren be more comfortable in the pocket? His first start, maybe that was first game jitters. There's a lot of hype out of camp about his accuracy, his ability to go through progressions, his feel for the pocket. He really excelled against our defense in camp. Now, is that one of those things where he's familiar with our defense? He knows players' tendencies. He knows their weaknesses. He knows the weak points in the defense. Maybe he's so familiar with it, he was able to perform at a higher level than he will against other opponents. We're going to find out. These are questions for Michigan fans that we need to find out. Is our offensive line going to gel? It had its moments where it looked really good, but then it had its moments where you can see there was some inconsistencies with new starters. What position groups for you, Matt, are your biggest questions heading into this game for Texas?
Interior defensive line. Colorado State got a little bit of push, but then again, I think Texas was fully prepared for Colorado State wants to air it out, whereas they know Michigan wants to run the football. So that's definitely going to be an emphasis. But yeah, definitely the interior of our defensive line versus the interior of your offensive line. I think the edges for Texas can win today. They have Trey Moore, Ethan Burke, Barron Sorrell. All those guys, if they can get off and make it a little bit harder on the quarterback anyways, who honestly looked like things were a little bit too fast for him for Michigan, then we have a really good shot. And that's the thing too. I think it's very important early to establish pressure because that's only going to speed him up going into the, like, easing himself into the game as well.
Definitely. And I just want to give a reminder out there to everybody watching. If you want to call in the show, we are doing quick calls today, 3 to 5 minute phone calls, talking. What up, Philip, my boy Buford, my guy there. Get a good gym session in today. I know you're hitting the gym. But to everyone watching, StreamYard link is in the description. If you guys want to call in, we're doing 3 to 5 minute quick hitters, talking the game. Looking forward to this matchup, this heavyweight bout today, week 2. We have 2 teams coming in at, I would say, different levels of their journey, which we've talked about. We have Texas, the experienced team that has kind of taken their losses and has their battle wounds. And then you have Michigan, who's, reigning champions, but a lot of new blood. So it's interesting to see the differences here clashing. And then you have 2 coaches where you have Sarkisian, who is a little bit more battle tested. Then you have Sharon Moore, who had some big games last year and showed some extremely savvy coaching moves last year, adjusting on the fly game plans against Penn State and other. I mean, listen, he beat Ohio State in his first game. I don't care that Jim Harbaugh was there during the week. I mean, to coach that game and do game management in the biggest game of the year, a team that's literally trying to wreck your season. I mean, hats off to Sharon Moore. We saw what he could do last year. Let's see today. This is a big test for Sharon Moore. Matt, you tell me, when it comes to Sarkisian, what are your concerns with his approach to things, if any, and what are you most looking forward to today in his game plan?
So the 2 biggest concerns I have with Sark are he can get caught up in his game plan a little bit. I think you saw that versus Washington early on. I didn't even know this, but on the broadcast last year, they talked about it. Like, he scripts like 40 to 50 plays at a time. That's way more than I've ever heard a coach do. Usually it's the first drive, maybe first drive and a half. But yeah, I think he can get caught up in the game plan. Now, if the game plan works, it doesn't really matter. And I've seen him adjust off of it, but there are certain times where he doesn't. And then the other thing is just being over aggressive. I think in a game like this, you have to take the points. So I'm going to be interested if he agrees with that. Last year, in certain big game situations, he would go for it on 4th down. And I think there's a time and place for that in this game. If you're feeling it and your offense is in rhythm, then sure. But if it's like a knuckle drag fight out there, basically what we think it's going to be, then Texas needs to be able to take the field goals when they are given.
Yeah, and that's the hope for Michigan, right? We have got to hold you guys to field goals. We have got to make, the field in our favor, right? If we can, so for those who maybe didn't see our Tuesday show or possibly didn't see our Thursday call-in show, the first thing is, what are you doing with your life? And the second thing is, if that is the case, my keys to victory, and Matt, we'll get into your keys to victory after I lay these down, but my keys to victory is we got to hold Texas to field goals. The offense needs to sustain drives, and Michigan needs improved quarterback play. And I think Michigan's capable of all 3. I think Michigan is a very tough red zone defense. Teams have a very hard time getting 7. Now, what is interesting and is a caveat is we have a new defensive coordinator. Now, he does transition the old system into this one with a little bit of flair, I would say, to the front 7. I do expect them to maintain disguise coverages or coverage disguises on the back 7. I do expect a lot of new looks front 7. So, like, that's the thing too, Matt. And, we'll get into my other key points before, you respond to this, but we're going to see things we haven't seen. And I mean, Michigan fans, like, Wink Martindale is going to bring a whole new look to this front 7. He's far more creative with his blitzes and the way he uses his guys filling gaps and things like that. So I'm interested to see the evolution there for Michigan. And then the other 2 points I have is, obviously, we have to sustain drives. We talked about this, be on schedule and sustain drives. If our offense is doing 3 and outs, or if our offense is only able to get 1 first down a drive, our defense is not going to be able to sustain this game in terms of, like, by the time the third quarter comes, end of the third quarter, we're going to see some gas players. Now, we do have a deep rotation. We do have depth. We do use we use about 7 guys on the defensive line, and we have a good rotation in the secondary. But I don't give a shit. You cannot win, and Matt, I know you'd agree with that. You cannot win if your offense is going 3 and out, especially against a high-powered offense like Texas. That is a recipe for disaster. And then my last key point, Matt, and I'll let you take it. We need improved quarterback play. Now, the reason why I feel we're capable of that is because, by all accounts, Davis Warren is better than what we saw on Saturday. And I do think his first game live action, live bullet experience was, it's like anything for most people in life. Your first time doing something is always going to come at you fast. You're not going to be as good as you really are in real life. It's not going to slow down for you. Hopefully by week 2, this is a big game. It's at home. He has his team behind him. He has a stadium behind him. Hopefully, Davis Warren shows why the coaching staff believed in him in fall camp. And I do believe if Michigan can achieve those 3 keys of the game, we will be having a victory in Ann Arbor. Matt, what is your take to those 3 keys? And then give your 3 keys for Texas to win their matchup today.
Yeah, I 100% agree that Michigan has to do all those things to have a chance to win today. And I also think, honestly, they have to win the turnover battle. I think that's a big thing because when your offense already struggles, you gotta win the turnover battle so you can get as many possessions back for them as possible. If it breaks even today, like if I told Michigan fans, look at the box score and it's even, you guys would probably think we probably lost the game. I think they're going to have to be up 1 or 2, at least. I think, honestly, 2 to win the game. I think 1 to stay competitive in the game because that is your strength. And then for Texas, again, what you said, pointing to the red zone thing, we were not good in scoring touchdowns last year. The 2 years prior, we were pretty good. We needed to get back to that. And then be able to tire them out. Sark has already talked about that. Maybe go with a little tempo, keep them on the field, huddle a little bit less so you can't rotate. I think that's a smart way to attack as well. And that's going to be a very interesting chess match because Wink Martindale does love to blitz. And could he get caught at one point? And if he does get caught and we can beat him over the top, you have to be able to hit those shots as well.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting to see this chess match. It's going to be interesting to see how Will Johnson does against Isaiah Bond today. It's going to be interesting to see your run. All right, let me ask you this because, you've had some injuries in the backfield. What do you think your running backs are going to be capable of today? You have an offensive line, so you have that check. Can your running backs, do you have confidence in your running backs to have an impact today against Michigan's front 7?
I think Jaden Blue will be, honestly, we have a really good pass catching unit in the backfield with Jared Gibson, Jaden Blue, and Trey Wisner. So I see a lot of, honestly, running back screens, getting them out on a slot, having them run routes, because that's a big mismatch. I don't care who you linebackers. It's hard to cover a guy that ran 23 miles an hour last year in Jaden Blue. So I think he's going to utilize them that way. I honestly think he's going to spread them out early on, get them tired, and then start to run the football at him. I think that makes the most sense. You set up the run with short and quick passes, honestly, and then take shots when you can. Because I don't think if you just come out and straight away start trying to run the football, play bully ball versus Michigan, it will work out very well.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so just a reminder to everybody watching the show, the StreamYard link is in the chat. If you guys want to call in, talk some ball before the game, let us know your thoughts, give us some score predictions. We are here for that. Just use the link, and then you guys can call in. We're going to try and do 3 to 5 minute calls. We're going to do some quick hitters for that. So, again, shout out to everybody watching, whether it be on the Michigan channel on YouTube, whether it be the Texas channel on YouTube, whether it be the Twitch channel, or our X account for the Voice of College Football, and John Diadamo, my co-host and friend. He's in the chat. Shout out to John Diadamo. Shout out to Cliff Richardson, another friend of, not only friend, a team member of the channel. We appreciate Cliff and Max. Shout out to them. Go Blue. Let's get the dub today, boys. And then Joe Long and Moose are going at it. So shout out to the boys doing what makes college football so great. And that is the debate, and that is the bicker, and that is the robbery. Shout out to my boy Moose. So, I mean, look, Matt, I came into this, everyone knows everyone who watches our channel knows my, so I guess the line has gone down to 6.5, which is interesting to see money going back the other way. But again, as we talked, so let's talk about the line, Matt. Let's actually bring that up. So thanks, guys, for the topic here. We saw this line go from 3 to 7.5, right? Now, we know that if the line is moving that drastically, that's because the Sharps are throwing major money. We're talking millions of dollars on this game, millions and millions and millions of dollars on this game. But we are now seeing the line go down a point, which is very interesting, which means there is more big money coming now in Michigan's favor. Now, don't get me wrong, 6.5 is still a lot, especially on the road. What are your thoughts about this line movement? And what do you think about this recent movement down to 6.5?
Yeah, so I agree. A lot of money has come in, but it could also be some bettors legitimately will do this. It raised enough, and it's rare to raise that much to where they're middling it now too. where it's like I got 7.5, and then I also have this now until I can middle, or I had 3.5 because they got on it early, and now I can have 6 or 7.5 as well. So it like brings it back towards the middle, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
definitely.
it's
I mean, go on.
no good. Well, it's going to be interesting because I don't know. That could also literally Dave Portnoy could have just placed this bet on Michigan.
Right. No, very true. I mean, Dave Portnoy. Well, I mean, it takes more than Dave Portnoy, but I hear you. I mean, he probably does have 100 grand on the game or more, or maybe even.
Probably more. Probably like
Yeah.
$500,000.
No, I don't know. He might be a little reserved on this game. Dave's kind of an opportunist better. He doesn't just blow money. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see it's so interesting to see Vegas's line go to 7. But what you saw was a week 1 reaction, right? You
Yeah.
saw the line move very heavily after our week 1 performance. So again, and this is true, we'll find out how true it is today. Teams improve the most from week 1 to week 2. So and here's the thing too, man, and let's get into this, Matt. Let's get into conservative playbooks in week 1. I think both teams definitely were conservative. I don't think Michigan was the only one conservative. I mean, both these teams, I heard a story from Brady Quinn that I thought was very interesting. He was talking about how, I think it was his senior season, he had Michigan week 2, and the week before Michigan, they played against BYU. He said the entire training camp they prepped for Michigan. They only prepped for BYU for like 3 days, right? 3 days, and then they lost to BYU week 1 because they only put 3 days of like prep into BYU. Not worried about them, focused on Michigan. Now they did end up beating Michigan week 2, but it's interesting because I think we have the same thing here. And Evan, thanks for calling in. We'll get to your call here in a moment. Right after our topic here. But I think both teams have been focused on each other all summer. I think when you look at week 1, especially for Michigan, you could talk on Texas here, and then we'll get to our caller Evan here. Michigan, no question, was at a 30 to 35% playbook. In terms of variety of plays there. So I'm interested to see, one, what does this offense do more? Movement, shifts, how much they're going to use Donovan Edwards. I mean, we heard some rumblings out of camp that Colston Leveland's moving all around the field, and they're going to be in more, 2 tight end sets, and they got, more, and here's another thing that I found interesting was when Sharon Moore was asked about Alex Orji and if he's going to be used more. And man, the grin and confidence in Sharon Moore's response was absolutely. Like they appear to have some. I mean, it wasn't those. I just paraphrase it. It was actually a little bit more impactful what he said. But like it's interesting to see. I want to know how they're going to use Alex Orji. Because I'll just say this: I do have a concern of the usage of Alex Orji week 1. But if they can do a better job with it and be more effective in their use with him and not just have him run every damn time, which may be a setup for this week, making Texas think he's going to run it every damn time, because we know he can throw. Like, he can throw to an extent. Now, is he a 75% completion percentage thrower? No, he's not. But he can make passes. We saw him in spring game do short to medium range passes at a 70% clip. Now, do I think he's a 70% clip quarterback at volume? I don't. But I do think he's probably close to 60. And I mean, upper 50s, low 60s. And when I mean low 60s, I'm thinking 60 flat. But my point is, like, I think he is at least capable keeping a defense honest and respectable. What is your thoughts on the vanilla playbooks or conservative playing styles that Texas did in week 1, as well as what they're going to see from Michigan?
Yeah, I agree. We didn't really throw that many wide receiver screens versus Colorado State. You're going to see that more today. There's also this screen. I guarantee you he does it. He does it every big game, and it always works. Well, now it probably won't since I'm saying it, but Quinn Ewers will get the ball and basically turn his back to one side of the field and then literally spin back around and throw it over the defender's head for a screen, and it usually works about 15, 20 yards. You'll probably see that play today because he runs it, like I said, in every big game, and I think you're just going to see more screens in general. I think you'll see some orbit motion. You see that with the Dolphins, and Sark has actually worked with Mike McDaniel a lot. I think that was pretty funny. If anyone caught it yesterday, Wink Martindale said it's the Alabama run game with the Miami Dolphins pass game. That was actually, that was a perfect description.
Pat McAfee show.
Yeah, that was perfect description of what it was or what it is. And it's going to be interesting because Michigan, like your call said, Thursday, there was a call that mentioned you guys have struggled over the middle in the pass or defending the pass. And Sark will exploit that big time because that's what he does. The RPO game, inside zone run. That is the basis of his offense. That's why I'm saying we're going to eventually have to win on some downs in the run. If Michigan holds us under, I'm going to say 2.5 yards per carry, they win the game. I think I think we can average between like 3 and 3.3. That's where that's like the number you have to get to, or somewhere like that, to where the run is at least somewhat effective and keeps you honest. If it's not effective and doesn't keep you honest, like they said, they'll just bring the safeties down, and that'll be that with RPO.
Absolutely. Yeah, I hear you, man. All right. Shout out to our boy Cliff, who says, how often do you see fans of opposing teams get on a live stream and have real conversation about football? It's right here. Folks on the Voice of College Football. Absolutely. We talk ball. That is what we do. We don't come with the bullshit. But what we do also do is we take callers. What is up, Evan? How you doing, man?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. We're about 37 minutes from kickoff, getting ready to go.
Yeah, so TJ, I got a question for you and your insider information. During the preseason, did they practice live on offense?
Yeah, they've practiced. I mean, obviously the quarterback can't get hit. He wears a red jersey, but they practice live for sure. They definitely practice live. I mean, the thing about college ball, and this isn't just Michigan specific, it's far more physical than it is in the pros. The pros has limited days of contact. College ball does not have that. So yeah, there was a lot of live practice. The word is, I mean, so again, I'm not at practice, right? But word is it actually was very physical. Pads were popping, aggressive. I mean, listen, there was even recruit. I'll give you even like you can use even like these secondhand well, I guess firsthand, observations of practice, and these are the recruits who got to view them, and the recruits were saying how physical the practices were, how aggressive it was. So I do think Michigan has had plenty of live action heading into the season.
Okay. Well, my question was in regards to the quarterback, and you answered that question, which is all that I needed to know. And Devin Gardner said that he and Denard actually practiced live when they were in their quarterback competition, which I think is why it was so irresponsible for them not to have the quarterbacks live when Davis hasn't played with any fear of getting hit for 5 years. Like, he played like he was terrified, and I'm terrified of him playing. He had 26 dropbacks. And TJ, you mentioned he got locked on his first read. Do you know how many times he got locked on his first read?
No, I didn't count it. Give me the number.
26 times. He never looked to his second read. There was only 4 times where he didn't hike the ball and look directly at his guy and no one else. And 3 of them were the dump offs to the backfield, which, I mean, you're not going to look directly at the guy standing next to you when you hike the ball. And then the other one was the third down conversion to Samaj. And he was looking somewhere else, but it wasn't at anyone in particular. So it was just really scary for him to never look at the second guy.
Yeah, I think we could all come away with the conclusion week 1. He had some deer in the headlights look. I mean, he definitely looked like a player who it was his first start. I mean, that's just what it is. Now, again, here's start number 2. He had a full week of practice. Let's see this progress. Like, so, and the thing too is you're like, the quarterback didn't play live. It's interesting to me that Devin Gardner and Denard Robinson said they played live. Matt, do you hear about any quarterbacks being live in fall camp, bro? Because I don't ever hear about, no one lets their quarterback be live in fall camp. I don't know if that was a thing back then, but nowadays those quarterbacks do not get touched.
Yeah, I haven't heard of anything about that, but yeah, that's crazy because I don't think Sark would ever do it just because he values the quarterback more than most coaches anyways, but also Quinn Ewers has an injury history, so it definitely wasn't going to do it with him.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, I mean, look, let's see. Listen, out of camp, here's the word, right? And I'm sure we all know, this has actually been widely reported. This isn't something special from us or anything, but Davis Warren was going through his progressions. He looked confident in the pocket. He was obviously the more accurate passer, especially the final week of camp. Apparently, he just torched the defense. So, we'll see. I mean, we were all in observation mode, Evan. I mean, I'm just as curious as you are because, what I saw game 1 was also what you just described: a quarterback who's locking on first option, who is making rush decisions, not throwing balls entirely. I mean, listen though, he wasn't awful. He wasn't awful. He was okay. I wouldn't even say he was bad, but he wasn't good enough. He wasn't. But I think he's better than what I know he's better than what he showed. It looked very obvious he was a first-time starting quarterback getting live bullets. So I'm just curious to see the 2 big things to me that we really need to see true progression is that offensive line gelling, which I think we'll see. I think it'll be better, but we're going against a tough opponent. And then our quarterback play. Let's see, David. And then I'm so curious about this Alex Orgy thing, man. How are they going to use him? Because they will.
Yeah, I think I think I'm taking it easy on Orgy because just like Devin said, he's like all off season, like he's kind of the leader. Not to say that he's like, I'm going to be the bona fide guy, but like he's, with the mindset like he's going to be the top guy, the way he's interviewing and, going out and doing all the camps and stuff like that. And then like one day before the game, he's not the starter. And not only is he not the starter, he's not splitting reps. He gets 2 throws. That one in the first quarter is like not really a throw. And then he doesn't get to throw the ball until the fourth quarter. And he only had one play at a time up until that. And that was back-to-back plays. So it's like he was, completely just, what is going, what is he happening right now,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I hear you. I mean, I think that's the thing, right? Is, hold on, my computer is doing something funny right now. But that's the thing, right? We just got to see like that week 2 trend, that growth, that jump from week 2. And it's not even just Davis Warren. I mean, let me ask you this, Evan. Do you think Davis Warren was the biggest issue at week 1?
I do, because I think
You do?
everything else. Okay. I think everything else is fixable. I don't think the wide receivers were that bad. I think they were getting open. Davis wasn't getting them a chance to get open. The offensive line did not struggle. They were missing their assignments on that one orgy run that went for 1 or no yards. Hinton was blocking, and he didn't go up the center's butt, which he would have blocked the guy, and then it would have been 1-on-1 orgy with the safety. He could have taken it to the house, but instead it was a 1-yard gain. I think that stuff can get cleaned up. I do agree with you. I think Warren has the capabilities of a quarterback, like of a good quarterback. But he played like scared, like Cade. But he's got way more physical ability. So I think if he plays the same way he did last week, Michigan doesn't have a chance. But if he plays maybe like who he can be, then I think they do.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Improved quarterback play is key to victory today. Interesting. I actually think the offensive line was the bigger cause of the problem. No, don't get me wrong. Davis Warren has to play better, but that offensive line, and I said this when we were watching the game Saturday. I was live tweeting a little bit, and I said for Davis Warren to succeed, this offensive line has to give him time. They have to protect him. So this way Davis Warren can get comfortable in that pocket. And that's the thing too, guys, once Davis Warren gets comfortable, right? Once he starts to feel the game, he will be a more effective quarterback. He will be the quarterback we heard about in fall camp. But again, tough test today, tough test to learn, or tough test to get your feel for the game and get your composure, because we need a composed quarterback just like JJ was. What made JJ so special? Obviously his athletic ability, but his composure in big moments, third downs, when we needed a big play, his ability to make quick decisions on the fly. That's what we need from Davis Warren, but he has to be protected for that. And I need the offensive line. Like, to me, the biggest priority is offensive line. If the offensive line gives Davis Warren time, I think he's similar to Jared Goff. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Jared Goff's a more talented arm passer. Like, obviously, Jared Goff has one of the best arms. He has a top 10 arm in the NFL, So if he has time. Now, if Davis Warren has time, I fully expect Davis Warren to be a far more effective quarterback. But we will see. It's up to the boys to do that. I'm interested to see who starts, whether it be Crippen or Judice. I think Evan Link's going to still hold down the right tackle position, but it's going to be interesting to see that offensive line gel today against Texas's front seven.
Yeah, I definitely don't expect him to be JJ, but I think the most fun plays on offense are when, especially JJ did a lot. He's rolling out, and there's kind of like no one on his side of the field except for one receiver and one defender, and he kind of gets the defender to come up, and he just points to the receiver, go deep, and then he just lofts it to him, and it's a huge play. Which Davis Warren had a similar play like that in the spring, where he threw it to Fred Moore, and then he went the distance. So so on his 26 dropbacks, 3 of them he rolled out. 2 of them were designed rollouts. The one that wasn't was that ball to Tyler Morris, and he rolled right into a blitzer. Now, he still had an accurate pass, so you got to give him credit on that. But all the other 23 dropbacks, he didn't leave the center box. That's not even a thing, but he didn't even move a tiny bit left or right. If somebody was coming at him, he was a statue in the pocket. But I do want to ask you a question, Matthew. Thanks for coming on and listening to us crazy Michigan fans. But just talk about Michigan all the time. But the only positive thing I'm thinking is so this is something, a question I couldn't ask a real Michigan fan, which I know that, you saw Washington play. And I said, what does Texas's offense do that Washington's offense last year couldn't do?
They put people in motion way more than Washington does. Washington doesn't put as many guys in motion. You're going to see that a lot more. Washington also doesn't use the screen game. If you watch Washington last year, they like to like they did versus Texas. If it's going well, they're just taking deep shots the whole game. Whereas Texas will soften you up and then take deep shots because they want to run the ball more than at least Washington did last year. I can't speak on Kalen DeBoer's offense in general, but Washington did last year. But overall, yeah, I think we're faster, and then you're going to see more motion in the backfield from wide receivers and running backs too before the play to identify man and zone.
Okay, thank you. I also got a question about the linebackers. Anthony Hill, I know he's a stud. Do you see him more? Is he more of like a downhill linebacker or like a side-to-side kind of guy?
So I would say he's more downhill. Side to side he's still working on, and he's like he can make up for mistakes most guys can't because he's a freak athlete. But overall, yeah, he's more downhill. You'll probably see him off the edge today too because he's really good at getting after the quarterback. He had 2 sacks at Alabama last year. He was second on the team in sacks last year, and he only played 43% of the snaps. So I think this is going to be his national coming out party because most college football fans probably don't know who Anthony Hill is.
Okay, thank you for that. The last thing I want to talk about, and then I'll step off, is Fred Moore. Like, I want to defend him a little bit. I thought, Coach just like ragged him in the halftime interview across the nation. I was like, no, he didn't do it. He didn't do it. And I watched it play like 20 times, and he kind of like faded away, which was kind of disappointing. But he's in his first start as well. He's the true sophomore, redshirt freshman, and he's open. Like, he's open in the end zone. Like, you're not expecting your guy to underthrow him. Like, you're like, I'm going to score a touchdown. Like, he had 1 or 2 steps on him. He's not going to like let me give up that advantage. And then he only had 3 snaps. Like, he had to have just taken him off the field and like, you're done for the rest of the game. Like, I can't believe that they wouldn't give him another chance.
Well, that's the thing about inexperience. And it's a great point about Fred Moore, right? Because you're right. It was more a Davis Warren problem than a Fred Moore problem. But I think the biggest issue for Sharon Moore is, well, you got to bail your quarterback out. You got to react to that ball being there. You got to knock it down. You got to make sure that defender does not catch that. Because to be honest, Fred Moore watched it. One of the rules of being a wide receiver is you do not watch the ball. You make a play on the ball. He didn't make a play on the ball. And that's what inexperience does in those moments. So again, you have an inexperienced quarterback with an inexperienced young wide receiver. Those things are going to happen. Again, though, you're right. At the end of the day, it starts with Davis Warren, but Fred Moore is going to take, listen, you're not going to sit Davis Warren, right? You're going to sit the quarterback who could have did something, but didn't. And you're going to coach up Davis Warren. We'll see. Now, what I found interesting, though, about the Fred Moore situation in the X position for Michigan, when Sharon Moore has been talking about, he doesn't ever talk about the X position very much. He doesn't bring up Fred Moore's name a lot. The name, though, he has been bringing up is Kendrick Bell. Kendrick Bell plays the same position as Fred Moore. That's the X wide receiver. If Kendrick Bell started getting some run in that game, and he actually looked pretty good, I'm interested to see if they start starting Kendrick Bell because there is buzz out of Ann Arbor that they think he's going to be a very good player, like similar to his brother. Now, I don't mean like they're a little bit different type receivers, and I don't mean like I don't know if he's going to have the freshman year that Ronnie had, but I do think you're going to see him become an impact player at some point.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for taking my call.
Yeah,
Go Blue.
Before you get out of here, Evan, what's your prediction for the game, man?
I mean, if Davis Warren is the guy he was last week, I think it's 16-27. If he was the guy, if he's maybe who he's capable of being, 16-27, Texas wins. And then if he's capable, maybe they have a last-second field goal, 27-24.
Okay, David Zavada with the game winner. I hope you're right, man. Well, thank you for calling in, Evan. Go Blue. We have a game in 25 minutes. Let's get it. Okay, we got a chat here from Kiyoki Kapana. Personally, I think a friend of the program, the Kapanas, Micah Kapana, big friend of the program. Love the kid. Personally, I think we are overlooking Fresno State. Fresno State is one of the better power group of 5 teams, no question. Look ahead to today. So I'm believing we play out of our minds today and seal it up. TJ is point, but I'm hoping his pick is wrong. Kiyoki, I hope my pick is wrong too. I don't want to be right. I want the L today. I want the win today, but I'll take my L today. I will take that. No problem. Moose says next caller. Well, there is no next caller, Moose, so call in. Until then, me and Matt are gonna talk some ball. But yeah, so there is a StreamYard link in the chat. You guys want to call in? We could talk some ball. We could talk about your predictions for today, your concerns for today, and what you think is going to happen. If you want to talk shit to Matt, he's here to take it. I'm just kidding. Don't be nice to Matt. But yeah, and our boy GT and friend of the program, GT, excited for the game. Go Blue. We are excited for the game today too. Cannot wait. Kendrick Bell looked good today. or it looked good. I agree, and he will look good today. I just did a Freudian slip. I know the future. He's about to have 100 yards a day. We're gonna definitely kick Texas's ass, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, Matt. So listen, he brought some good questions or good points to the call. I think he's I think he's right though with his. It's interesting that he thinks Davis Warren was the biggest issue in the game. But I mean, I guess that comes natural, right? That comes with the territory, right? It's one of those things where if you win, even though we won, right? But you know how college football is. You got to win big or impressive. Yeah. Like winning's not good enough in college football. You got to you got to have an impressive victory. You got to have dominating victories, right? So what's interesting is like the quarterback always gets the blame, whether it's good or bad. Now he's either praised more than he should be because the team's great, or he gets thrown under the bus more than he should because the team doesn't look as good. I mean, you saw Davis Warren. You watched the Fresno State game. What was your thoughts, honest opinion on Davis Warren? Do you think he was the biggest issue for Michigan?
I don't know if he was the biggest issue, but if he's not the biggest, he's definitely second, obviously behind the offensive line. But my issue was that, like, I watched the spring game too. I went and watched it once you guys name him. I watched the first half, maybe the first 3 quarters of the Michigan spring game, and he did look like he was processing things. Well, then when he stepped on the field, he wasn't at all. Like that, Evan was right. Like he was not reading the defense. It was first read. And if you're doing that in this game, he's going to throw an interception. Like, because Texas will just bait him into throwing an interception. We did that with Milroe last year too. So it's going to be interesting to see if it was just things were too fast for him and now they've slowed down enough, because I doubt they've slowed down completely. That doesn't happen from one start to another. That happens over a season or two. Or if he was just, I don't know, if there was another issue going wrong with him. But overall, I mean, it's a chicken or in the egg thing. If the offensive line plays bad again or not good, and then Davis Warren plays better, it's probably going to even out. And he's just going to look bad again anyway. So they both need to be working in tandem anyways.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I hear you, man. I mean, I agree with you. I would put Davis, if I had to rank it, he's second, but I think, I think he has a lot. I don't think we should draw the conclusion on Davis Warren after week 1 against Fresno State. Like Kyoki Kapana pointed out, Fresno State, and Matt, you would agree, is one of the better group of 5 teams. They are not, they're not Idaho. Okay. What Oregon did as high, look at what high powered Oregon is. Okay. That's supposed to be a national championship contender. They didn't look very good either. And that's the thing about college football, guys. You can have a lot of talent, and that I know there's people watching. Like we know ball, TJ, but like, for the people out there that are a little concerned, like when you have a bunch of noob guys and the chemistry is not quite there yet, it can look like Oregon, Idaho. It can look like Michigan, Fresno State. I mean, I think we all agree Michigan has 2 of the 3 phases of the ball at a national championship caliber level. They just have one side of the ball that has 5 new offensive linemen, that has a new starting quarterback and new wide receivers, as well as Donovan Edwards and Khalil Mullins taking the role at running back. The only player who's consistent from last year is, there's 2, Samaj Morgan and Colson Loveland. So, it's interesting. Plus, like they're putting Donovan Edwards in a new role, which was primary back. Hopefully today we don't see that. I think Donovan Edwards needs to be a weapon, a used weapon in opportune situations. He's talented. It's not that Donovan Edwards isn't talented. He's very talented, but he's not being used properly. They're trying to force him to do something is not his strength. His strength is not in between the tackles. 20 carries a game guy. He needs to be put in the slot. He needs to be used in motion. He needs to be doing runs to the outside of the tackle, those types of plays. Like that is what he needs. I mean, don't get me wrong, occasionally you do let him go up the middle because you got to keep a defense guessing, but at the same time, Khalil Mullins needs to be RB1 today. I do expect we see some Jordan Marshall and some Ben Hall today. I do expect more Ben Hall than Jordan Marshall, because Tony Alford said in his press conference on Tuesday, he said, it's my responsibility to get Ben Hall in the game. He earned it. I failed him as a coach. And that's big for a coach to, take that, to even say that. So we'll see. And Ben Hall, Matt, you may not know, Ben Hall is he's almost the complete opposite of a Donovan Edwards. He has extreme vision and patience. Like his vision and patience he's shown as a freshman was amazing. It was like, it looked elite. We'll see though. We'll see if when he gets more run and more volume. All right. Great question here from the Forgotten Man. My question is, how healthy is that Texas offense? So, Matt, do you have some insight on where they are with the health situation?
Yeah, everyone is healthy other than the two running backs that have been out. No one got dinged up or banged up or is out of this game versus Michigan that I know of, unless it's going to be released like now, basically. It's just Cedric Baxter, starting running back, and then Christian Clark, the fifth string, who wasn't going to play in this game anyways, is out for this game.
Yeah, definitely. And Michigan is also healthy. The only ones not playing today are Jaden Mangum, Rod Moore. Obviously, we know that Jaden Mangum's out, Rod Moore's out, and there was one more, but it wasn't any. I don't want to say of significance because I don't want to belittle anyone, but it wasn't a major role player. So yeah, we're only out 3 guys. We're healthy today. It's I'll tell you what, man. I am thrilled for today's game because we have this heavyweight matchup of 2 teams loaded with NFL talent. Like, that's the thing too, dude. We are seeing, and we talked about this over the summer when we did our preview, our fall preview. We talked about this during the week. There's probably likely 9 to 10 NFL players on Texas's offensive line and Michigan's defensive line. Give me your breakdown of this heavyweight matchup, Clash of the Titans. What do you think about it? And tell me, what is your biggest concern as a Texas fan and someone who covers the team? And what do you think what do you think they can do against Michigan's front four?
Yeah. So the edge matchup is where you're going to have 4 pros. I think Cam Williams at right tackle for Texas, Kelvin Banks obviously at left tackle for Texas are pros, and then Isaiah Stewart is very good too. Honestly, he impressed me the most. He flew around in that football game versus Fresno State. He was really impressive. And then Derek Moore on the other side. So I think those are legitimate 4 pros. Those are guys actually. It would not shock me if all 4 of those guys went in the top 70 picks in next year's NFL draft. Like, Cam Williams might be the most talented player we have on our offensive line, and it's his first year. Now, I do worry about this because he did it versus Colorado State, and it pisses me off. He's in his 5th year. Jake Majors had 2 snap infractions, and I'm like, this happens almost every year. He has a game or 2 where he has 1 or 2 snap infractions, then he never does it the rest of the year. So hopefully he got it out of the way versus Colorado State, because you cannot be putting our offense in down and distances like that. It pissed me off, honestly. Like, 5th year, you should not be doing that. That's like freshman and sophomore type shit. So that bothers me. And then it's going to be interesting because they rotated the guards a lot. It was DJ Campbell and Cole Hudson mostly rotating last week at the right guard position. And Cole Hudson, in my eyes, and according to, I think Pro Football Focus basically had him even, and this other guy that I trust had him even as well. So it's going to be interesting if they just let one get the hot hand and that's who plays right guard for today's game for Texas, or they rotate. It's going to be very interesting. I have no clue how they're going to attack that.
Definitely. Okay, then let's get into the other matchup I think is pretty big today, and that is going to be Quinn Ewers against our back 7. You got Will Johnson, likely on Isaiah Bond. You got Ryan Wingo. So who is going to be – all right, so tell me, who is your X, your Y, and your Z wide receivers? And
so
I'll let you know. Yeah, go on. I'll say I'll counter with who I think will be covering each guy.
So on the outside, it's going to be Bond and then Golden to start out, and then DeAndre Moore in the slot. But that's one thing. So 5 out of the 6 main wide receivers, and I think you'll see our 7th, actually, Ryan Nibbett, play a little bit today. I think he'll play wide receiver and running back. He's getting reps at both. But yeah, those are the 3 starters, but they rotate in 6. I think Silas Bolden's going to have a big day. I think Stark kind of held him back versus Colorado State. But yeah, the main starters, Bond on the outside, Matthew Golden on the outside, and then DeAndre Moore in the middle on the slot and the Y.
Okay. So I think we agree that Will Johnson's going to be on Bond. I think we would agree with that. Jair Hill is going to be on Golden, right?
Yeah.
And then Zeke Berry is going to be covering the slot. So, I mean, I think that's very, now Ryan Wingo, now he had a big week 1. What is your thoughts on how much rotation do you think he's going to get? Give me how many snaps did he play week 1? Do you know that?
Ooh, I think it was in the 30s, I believe. So he played
heavy rotation.
Yeah, he got heavy rotation. He was the leading receiver. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is going to be a heavy rotation today. You'll see 6 guys legitimately play today for Texas. I'm hesitant to say Ryan Niblett will play because if he does, he'll be out of the backfield. Like I said, he's been taking a lot of reps at running back because we were thin there, and that he's like a depth piece, but he's fast too. Like, this whole team is just insanely fast. Like, all these guys ran track. All these guys ran like 10.5, 10.600 meters. Jane Blue was like a 10.3 guy. So insanely fast on offense.
Yeah, it is. And then Mike Fort here with didn't Derek Jeter go to Western? I know he's from the Kazoo area. So Derek Jeter was committed to Michigan, but he got drafted to the Yankees. So he claims the Michigan brand. That's his brand. That's where he's going to go to college. He actually, I believe, he even took a summer course or a spring course. So he did do one class at Michigan, I believe. Just another legend like Michael Phelps and everybody else who goes to Michigan, because we all know it's the greatest university. It's even better than Harvard and Yale. He didn't go to who went to Western? Cliff, clarify that, because Derek Jeter was committed to Michigan, but then he got drafted by the Yankees. And he actually took a class at Michigan. So anyways, all right, Matt. So we are 13 minutes from kickoff. Give me your prediction right now. Actually, no, we'll wait. We'll wait till we get to the 50-minute mark. We'll do that.
Okay.
All right. So in the chat, guys, what I want from you guys is give me your score predictions of the game. Who do you think is going to win? What is the score? We want to hear from you. Let's talk about it. Let's figure out where the fans at, the pulse of the fan base, as Michigan fans and Texas fans. Give us your view here. Yeah, and I'm curious to see, where we are as a fan base right now. I think there's a lot of fans with some cautious optimism. I think there's a lot of fans with, some concerns here. Mike Ford goes 24-20 Michigan. He's going with the lower scoring affair, and that's probably likely the way our defense plays and the way our offense is going to go up against their defense. And then Kyoki Kapana, 24-21 Michigan. We have a very similar score here. Yeah, it appears. So let's see. Oh, that was all right. We got another one here. Michigan 24-10. 24 seems to be the 24-10, Matt. They're holding Quinn Ewers to 10 points. What say you?
No, it's not gonna happen. If that happens, I'll be pretty pissed in the post game. So you guys can watch me get.
You could come on then. you have an invite if we win 20. Well, we win it all. You as soon as you're done with your post game, you can hop on. But if it's 24-10, you can just skip yours and come right on, bud.
Yeah, I just don't see it. I think Texas is just too, honestly, they'll be schemed up too well. They've been preparing for this game too long, and they have way too much, I know this isn't the most talented room, but it's so damn fast. It's just everything Sark wants about it, like getting quick and keeping your routes the same pace, stuff like that, putting them in motion so they basically get a running head start, wide receiver screen. So if you miss a tackle, they can take it to the house. Like the offense is designed for little speeds demons like we have, and we have a lot of them.
Definitely. And then we got some scores here. We got 30-24 Blue, and then we have fellow friend of the program, Buckeye, 31-20 Texas. He will tell you he's just a realist. I would say he's just a Buckeye, but I'm just messing, Philip. It's all love. The Forgotten Man, 23-17 Texas. He's bringing the heat there. He says Texas is going to get it. Yep. Let's see. I think Texas has more success running the ball than people think. We will see, Buford. We will see, my friend. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hey, Koki Kapani says you better start drinking, bud, because you're in for a long ass day, Matt. You were in for a long ass day. You're gonna be drinking. Them noon beers are coming quick for you, bro.
I don't drink, so.
Well, you will today. It's gonna be a hard day for you, bud.
Michigan's gonna make me drink.
Yeah. You're gonna be in for it. I mean, shit. I did some drinking last Saturday. Freaking that Fresno game was stressing me out, but it's a little too early. A little too early for me today. However the game goes, but yeah. So, all right, we are 10 minutes. We are 9 minutes and 27 seconds away from kickoff. Matt, let's give our predictions. You go first. Let the people know what you think is going to go down today.
So I'm going to stick with my prediction that I made Thursday, 26-20. I think Texas is able to move the ball enough early on to get the Michigan defense worn down throughout the game. And then I also think Michigan isn't going to be able to move the ball enough to where that also puts them in bad positions and they get more worn down. So I think Texas takes advantage of that, hits a couple big plays. I think they finish enough drives in the red zone. You don't have to finish them all, but you need to finish enough of them with touchdowns. And I think we play a pretty clean game overall, and I think we walk away and out of the big house 26-20 Texas. Hook them.
Yeah, you know what I got to say to that, Matt. I just got to say, horns down. You know the deal. Horns down. Get out of here. Get out of here. But yeah, man. I mean, look, it's going to be a tough matchup. I I do have my concerns for this game, but I do feel like Michigan can get this dub today. I do feel Michigan's capable. I do feel we're talented enough. I actually think this game is going to come more down to the schemes that these teams run than the talent levels, because I think there is talent on this. Like, Michigan has tons of talent on this team. Okay, Texas is ton. Here's the thing about college football, everyone. You can only start 22 guys. Okay, and you're probably rotating 30 to 35. Michigan has 35 guys who can go toe-to-toe with Texas. Now, what does matter, though, is what players at what positions, right? Quinn Ewers at quarterback is a big advantage versus Davis Warren, who's in his second start in his career. No question. But as I've said earlier, and I will hit on my 3 points real quick, Michigan must sustain drives, keep our defense off the field, keep Texas's offense off the field, and stay on schedule. We have to hold Texas to 3 points. We are extremely tough in the red zone. We do a great job at holding defenses to 3 points or nothing. Obviously, 3 and outs are preferred, but we have to hold Texas to 3 points. We cannot allow sevens. And then improved quarterback play. That has to happen today. I do think he's capable. I think our offensive line has to protect him. We will see how it goes. Now, listen, you know me. I keep it real. I keep it honest. My prediction for the game is 28-17 Texas. And I want to be so wrong today. You have no idea. I listen, I am, as you know, listen.
That's what I'm talking about. This shit means something to me, man.
We are all in Michigan. We know this, but I have to bring my honest opinions here. And as you know, even though I gave my take, it is always horns down. You know this, but we got to keep it real. And I do think Michigan come away with the victory. And if they come away with the victory, I swear to goodness, this post game is going to be lit as I was going to swear. No need to swear. We don't need to swear on that one. Not yet. But yeah, the boys are going to bring it today. I do expect the boys to bring it today. I do expect it to be a good game. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be it's just going to be a great game today. And that's what we're in for. A great college football game of 2 prestigious universities clashing. I mean, the last time we played Texas was what, Matt?
2004.
That's right. A long ass time ago, 20 years, man. There's like kids who are 19 who don't even know. You know, like, can you believe it? Can you believe it?
So a lot of people in this playing in this game. Most people playing in this game.
Wow. Take that in. That's something there. That's a great point. Yeah, definitely, man. So so there we have it. We have our score predictions. Hopefully Michigan comes through with the victory today. Hopefully Sharon Moore has the boys ready to go. Listen, as you know, he was on Pat McAfee, and he said the talk he was going to give the boys on Friday night was going to be amped up. Couldn't discuss it on TV. I think Michigan's going to come out swinging. I do. And I cannot wait for this game. Matt, I want to thank you for coming on. We are 5 minutes from kickoff. Appreciate you for joining us all week. Please let everybody know where they can find you, your channel, and as well as your socials.
Yeah, it was awesome hanging out with you guys. I had a good time. You can find me on Twitter at MatthewMS97, and then just go over to the Texas channel at the Voice of College Football. Find me there. Subscribe down below to that. Like the content over there as well. We're just trying to grow what you guys have over here on the Michigan channel. If you know any Texas fans, send them over there. We can talk college football, but we're going to talk mainly Texas football. So,
well, we can also talk about the new move Matt's going to be making here. Matt is going to be doing our SEC live show on our SEC channel on Wednesdays at 8 o'clock. That is going to be kicking off very soon. Looking forward to that. So Matt is not only taking on the Texas channel, but he's also going to be covering the It Just Means More conference. So we'll be looking forward to that, Matt. And again, man, appreciate you. Let's see how this game goes. I'm sure we're going to be talking shit in text messages. And again, everybody watching it, go blue, horns down. Let's get the dub, and let's get it. And as you know, it is always go blue.